welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Vsrl ARCA Series. Apologies for the delay. We're about 10 minutes late here. Some technical difficulties on the streaming side of things. Apologies, everyone. We will get this race to you in its entirety here in mere moments here from the Daytona International Speedway. So many great things said about this racetrack. 2.5 miles in the ARCA car here tonight. 31 degrees of banking, wide open all over this place. But I have heard aero will be an issue. These things will be very tight. We'll have a look at the schedule at the end of the show. I should show you who I'm broadcasting with today. It's the legend, the myth, the mountain man, the Jeremy Burns, making his broadcasting debut right here on V-Speed. I'm Morgan Cook, your host and producer. This should be a thriller. We're going to get right down to the grid here to make sure we don't miss a moment of the action. Jeremy will have words for us here in a few minutes. I promise you that. All right, grid is on your screen. Riley Laverne going to start on the pole in the 19, doing the Matt Kenseth thing this year. Sean Langton will start in second. Third position, Justin Ritchie in the Me 55. Kyle Stewart, Home Depot, on the hood of that 141 machine, rolls off in fourth. Fifth position, Dakota Floyd in the familiar 24. John Sanu in the 86. Luke Oil on the side of that machine. Seventh spot, Benjamin Richards. Good to have him back here. Brian Hennings, a VRX teammate, is going to start in eighth. Ninth position, Bren McKee in the Red Bull 17. Garrett Hemlinger is going to round out your top 10. Now over to Jeremy Burns.
Starting at 11th, you're going to have the number 70 of Teresa Spiker. Following up with number 16, Stephen E. Pierce. Following up here in the 13th position, you're going to have Richard Holland in the 31. And Glenn Jameson rounding out your 7th row in the 63 machine. And rounding out your field tonight, you're going to have the number 14 of Thad Miller. And of course, the number 13 of David Eckenborough.
Yes, Ankenbauer going to wrap up the field here this evening. Thank you, Jeremy. We're going to get down trackside here for the pace laps, the final one. They've already been pacing for a good number of laps here, waiting for us. So thank you to the admins of Vsrl and the drivers for being so patient with us here tonight. Listen carefully, everyone. 70 laps. You could potentially have one-stopped it. Not anymore. I think this is pace lap 8 or so. Definitely cannot make it from here. So you can go about 30 laps on fuel and 75% fuel capacity on these cars as we roll turns 3 and 4. Pace car going to turn off here right away. 2 sets of tires on pit road, the one on the car. That adds up to 3. 2 green-white checkers if we require them. Let's hope that we don't. 1 fast repair in case things get a little bit wild at Daytona, as they very often do. 60 miles an hour on pit road, very easy to speed at this facility. I think the lights just came on, very exciting. And we are about to go green. Green flag is in the hand of the starter. The lights are on. We are green. Vsrl Season 1 of the ARCA Series. The lead lap 1, Sean Langton running the top side in the 7 machine. Looks like the 77 looks like the 7. How about? That's a little bit better. So far, not a ton of organization, and Jeremy, you've raced these cars quite a bit. They don't draft particularly well, do they?
No, they don't. And actually, they have a term called shoveling where you actually drive up underneath the car in front of you and it can get them loose because the rear tires are off the ground. So people will have to be very careful of that tonight, because the last thing you want to do is to take the rear tires off the ground of the guy in front of you.
Almost had a little 3 wide there. Johnson beaking to the middle. See if he can get around that lengthened machine on the top side. Laverne's going to lead lap number 2. Trying to Matt Kenseth his way to a championship is what I heard in the pre-race. We'll see all season long how well he does at that. Ricky Bobby there, bottom. Second in line, Justin Ritchie in the 55. Dakota Floyd right behind him. Those two work together very well. They'll be working together all day, I would assume. We have a couple drivers who have fallen well off the pace here. I see Thad Miller, and I see a Kyle Stewart hanging back a little bit here in the pack. I'm not sure if they're trying to avoid an incident, may it happen, or if they're just simply someone lost the draft and that's being a good teammate going back there to help. Not exactly sure on that. We're already 3 laps in. I expect us to see on pit road here in about 15 laps. It's already early, I know, but got to make sure you fill those things up with fuel, and you don't want to run out at this place.
Yeah, and as I go 2 by 2 here through 1 and 2, very calm here in the early go, and I think that people are still trying to figure out this car and figure out how you can push one another. They had an hour of practice, but being able to be in race trim and actually see how the cars handle within the draft is one thing that they're still going to try to see here, because this is the first race of the season. So still feeling out the competition, and we'll see the aggression amp up a little bit later in the race.
Yeah, certainly don't want to dig yourself a hole after race 1. You definitely want to come out of race 1 with a solid effort. Brent McKee falling back a few spots here in that Red Bull 17 there on the bottom lane. One thing that I'm finding interesting here is the top side. With only 3 cars able to hang with the bottom, which has the majority of the field in it. Langton obviously here about a car length back, but watch this big run down the front stretch. Let's have a look at it here from Johnson News' point of view. And look, they may have just cleared the bottom line here. In fact, I think they almost did, not quite. Very close. Were they to clearing down the backstretch into turn 3?
Yeah, they are pushing very hard, and you have to be very careful about where you push on these cars, because if you get them on the right rear and lift them up just a little bit, that might be a day ender right there. Fortunately enough, you have a faster pair tonight, so you do get 1 slip up, but after that, your day might be at the end, as we ride on board here with the 55 of Justin Ritchie, pushing the 19 of Laverne here through turn 2. Look at that beautiful Daytona sky.
It sure is a nice collection of colors up there in the sky. Daytona, that was not something I was expecting. Well done, Jeremy Burns. Pass for the lead. Ritchie going to leave Laverne out to dry. See if he can cycle out to the front of this field. We have yet to see a pass completed from the top side. See if Ritchie can be the first one to do that, with Langton on the rear bumper. Side by side of the line. Give that one to Laverne.
And who else but Ricky Bobby to pull out a line and try taking the lead? We love seeing it on the outside lane. I love seeing that 55 machine. The me with the Cougar in the car. But as you see here on the bottom lane, you have the 19, the 24 with a Jeff Gordon paint scheme. Awesome seeing that. I love seeing these early 2000s paint schemes. As you see a lot of pushing here going down the back straightaway. These cars are very close with one another as they head into 3.
Almost cleared, did the 55. Not quite enough. Maybe next time here. Now we're pretty even, top to bottom. The top line should have a lot of momentum. Not exactly sure where the move's going to come. Maybe right here. Not clear. You can see into the corner, the bottom line gets such a good drive, the shorter way around. But on the top side, you get a great launch. A lot of speed, a lot of momentum down the backstretch. It's just not quite enough. You're going to need to do something a little fancy, maybe drag the brake a little bit, maybe get a really big push to be able to clear from the top to the bottom.
As I go down the backstretch here, you see 2 by 2. The 56 and the 86 are laying off just a hair. As it looks like the 7 and the 55 are actually hooked up very nicely on that outside. They have to push a lot harder because they have to go the longer distance around. So seeing them actually being able to do that shows that they might be strong later on the race.
And we've got the entire field here in this shot, except for these two. Thad Miller, Kyle Stewart have fallen about 9 seconds off the pace. View out of the front of Thad's machine, you can't even see the field. There they are, middle of 1 and 2. He has yet to finish the tri-oval. That is less than ideal for these two drivers. They're going to need a caution to catch up. No amount of pit strategy can help two cars on their lonesome.
And as we pan back up here to the lead pack, they're going down the backstretch, just about to head into 3.
Cleared him.
Bobby's actually cleared him. 19's going to try to come back to the inside. He might get to the bumper. He is. As they come out of 4 here, they're going to have a drag race to the line here. See who's going to come to lead lap 9. Oh, I think it's going to give it to the 19 there of Laverne.
Got him by a fender.
Richie.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Got him by a fender.
You're right about that, Jeremy. All right, let's ride on board here. Richard Holland, who was very patiently biding his time. Only 10 laps into this race, of course. Still 60 to go. Started 13th, down 1 spot. He's got his teammate right in front of him, or at least someone he works well with. That's Glenn Jameson in the Sour Patch Kids 63. You can see he's just minding his P's and Q's back here. You can see the pack, but if there is a caution, he's got plenty of room to avoid it. Left or right, go wherever he wants. Nobody outside, no one outside, nobody behind him. All he has to do is not lose the draft.
You know, I think that Sour Patch paint scheme is actually pretty nice for a super speedway because it always seems like super speedways are sour and then they're sweet.
Depends where you finish, I would say, Jeremy. Yeah, definitely sweet standing in victory lane or walking out here with the top 5, but can definitely be sour if you end up on the hook. Like, undoubtedly somebody will today, I'm sure of it. Don't want to wish that on anybody, but I think we've all seen this story before. See, the top lane also has kind of fallen apart here a little bit. Now 2 cars have cleared Justin Ritchie on the top lane. Laverne and Floyd. And Richard's trying to do the same thing. Ben's having a good run so far. Michigan State. How do you feel about that, Jeremy?
Well, it's no Longwood University, but I tell you what, they're a very solid school in the Big Ten. But, yeah, it's definitely a cool-looking car. Definitely got to give a huge shout-out to him. And, yeah, because that's a very neat car. Repping the Michigan State Spartans out here.
Yeah, VRX always does well with their paint schemes. Great example. 3 wide, a little bit further back. Sanu got on the outside wall. That was that tight we were talking about. You get that push. Car doesn't want to turn anymore, but I think the nicest looking paint scheme out here, that red one right there. Look at that metal flake. Look at that chrome. Got V-Speed on the side. We'd love to see it. VRX. Brian Hennings. Appreciate the work you put into your schemes. Look at that thing go. Under the lights here at Daytona, not a better sight on the racetrack.
I tell you what, look at that number, too. That 74 is looking crisp out there.
Absolutely. We got a little bit of a battle for the lead here. Floyd thought about taking to the top side, but he saw Richie's fate and said maybe not this time. Down the back stretch, look at the run the top side gets.
Do I hear shake and bake out there?
That's shake and bake if I've ever seen it, let me tell you. He could clear right now. He chooses not to. Probably a wise move. It's good to know, though, that the runs on the top side can come very quickly. That's what you're going to need here late in this race, is to be able to form up a run. Go out there and pass that leader who's going to be glued to the bottom, I would think, all night, based on shortest distance. And we have yet to see a pass for the lead from the top side.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. I think that at this stage in the race, you're really experimenting things to help you later on in the race. I know that was a big strategy that I usually do as we ride on board here with the 88 of Garrett Helmlinger. For somebody like him who's riding here in the mid-pack, it's going to be one of those things of judging the run and seeing how close you can actually close to that car in front of you, because those moves are going to be what gets you to the front later here in this race. As you see, a little wall contact there.
It's like trying to pass someone on the 2-lane highway when you know you got oncoming traffic coming, and you have to time it properly, exiting the driver in front of you so you have forward momentum, so you're able to get around them with having the least amount of downtime possible. That's what this is like on a super speedway like this. You know that you're going to get a run, but you have to manage it properly. You have to lift properly. You have to be able to time it well so you don't drive into the back of them or you don't stall out because you wasted all your time trying to get left or trying to get right.
And I tell you what, in the blink of an eye, we've already completed 15 laps here, so a lot of valuable data being gathered here by these drivers, and it won't be too long now before we get into green flag pit
I
stops.
thought we were going to have it right there. Just as you said it, Laverne peaked below the double yellow. He said, no, I will not pit this time. But maybe here in just a few. Let's see if they're saving fuel back here around where Teresa Spiker is in the 10th position. I do hear a lot of off-throttle time.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear because you don't know if that's just the levels of aggression or if that's just in general trying to save fuel. So that is very interesting.
Yeah, she's half throttle on the backstretch. That could also be just not running the back of Brent McKee in front of her. But it also could be a fuel-saving measure. Here we are off turn 4. We pitting this time? We are not pitting this time. Say I would imagine here in the next 5 to 8 laps, I think we'd start to see drivers, especially these two back here, who have now fallen 16 seconds off the pace. That's Miller and that's Stewart. See, I think though Stewart is probably doing the best job of pushing on the racetrack right now. Let's see what he's doing. Because he has to do his best to stay right up to the back bumper, but also not blow the motor. Can't quite see it here. We'll see it when he flattens back out. On the very far left side of the dash, underneath the timing and scoring, you can see there is a temperature gauge. It's pointing straight up and down. That's good. You do not want to blow this thing up this early in the race.
Yeah, and that's another thing that these drivers have to worry about is that temperature management, and you know, they might be getting a better dose of what that's going to be like rather than these guys who are half throttle up here in the main pack. So no matter where you're at on this track, you can always learn some valuable data to use later in the race. Unfortunately, though, it looks like they're going to have a caution at this point to get back into this thing. As you ride on board here, oh, would you look at that? That's a Pepsi commercial if I've ever seen one. That's the 24 there.
You can see the whites of Dakota Floyd's eyes through that helmet there. That's how close we are. That's how close they are. It's you can see the inner geometry of the front suspension through the grill. That's a crazy shot. Laverne leads another lap. How many is that for him now? Call it 13 of the first 19 run. Looking good for the guy trying to be Matt Kenseth this season. We got a car way out there. I think that's Ankenbauer. Trying to get a really solid run here. There he is. Seeing if he can make something of it. It doesn't look like he will this time unless he forces it 3 wide. He will not.
Yeah, in practice, it looked like it was a little bit sketchy to go 3 wide in these cars just because they express that tightness feeling coming out of the corner. So you may be able to get it going in, but you better get cleared in the center of the corner, or else it's going to be very tight on exit.
We're just going to watch
right on
Johnson
here with
John
John
here.
Senior.
Yeah, you mentioned tight. Let's just watch his hands. What are his hands doing? Right now, pretty all right. What's the exit look like? How much wheels do you have to put in it? Not as much as I thought. So he's not dealing with tight as much as maybe some other drivers are. But Jeremy, why don't you explain the concept of tight versus loose for the viewers who aren't aware of what we're talking about?
Yeah, so if your car is tight, it's more commonly referred to as understeer, and that's basically when you try turning the wheel but the car goes straight. Now, if you're loose, that's actually commonly referred to as oversteer. So when you try turning, the back end of your car actually kicks out, and that'll make you slide. So what I actually prefer is oversteer in my car because I would rather modulate the throttle to control the car. Understeer, I've always tried getting away from because I can't physically do anything else. So I know that when you're running at 180 miles an hour, having understeer is probably not the most pleasant thing in the world.
Absolutely, it would not be pleasant by any stretch. Drivers having a pretty pleasant day so far. Stephen Pierce up 8 spots to the 4th position in another Jeff Gordon throwback. This time on the 16 machine, which is a little sacrilegious, but that's neither here nor there. All right, top lane has fallen apart. Back to fourth now is Richie. But you can see really good run down the front stretch, able to gain a car length back. Let's see what it's like on the back here. So he's going to start off on the quarter of Dakota Floyd. Help's not quite going to get there. He's going to stay about even with Dakota down the back here. Again, we're just trying to learn. That's all these drivers are doing right now. Done a really great job of it. No incidents to this point. But where are 15th and 16th? See the leaders coming out of turn 4. They are just exiting turn 2, middle of the back stretch now. So, we are not terribly far away from having a couple lap down cars, especially depending how this pit cycle goes. One of those guys with a bad stop, they are a lap down, certainly.
Yeah, if you think that they're losing time now with 2, you take 1 away from that equation, you're going to be dropping like a rock. It's going to be interesting to see here. I really want to see how this outside lane gets down here as they're trying to make their way onto pit road. It's going to be one of those things where you have to find a hole, whether you drive it to the back or whether the 7 pushes the 55 ahead of Laverne there. That's going to be really interesting because you have to coordinate when you're going to pit road. So, and these guys on the outside have actually burned more fuel. So it's a little bit more critical for those guys on the outside to get down.
I'd have to think that we're pitting here very shortly. We could only make it 30 before. We did many pace laps. Again, apologies everyone for the late start. We were able to get everything in, which is great. But we're about to have pit stops here in the near future. Should be coming here shortly. So we have a look at the top side. Still Justin Ritchie leading the way. Sean Langton glued to his rear bumper. Hitting this time. No, we are not. Let's have a ride on board with the 7. And yes, he also wants to go fast, I will bet you.
You know, I just love this Ricky Bobby car. I can't talk about it enough. I want to go fast, you know, and he is going fast up there on that top side because he's able to keep up with that inside line. As you see the 24 Floyd pushing the 19 of Laverne. And the pack has kind of stayed like this throughout these first 25 laps. So very stable, not very aggressive, but at the same time, it's all coordinated and calculated here.
Looks like we got Kyle Stewart. Oh, maybe he started from the pits. Maybe that was the problem here with the 41, and he's the only driver who's hit pit road to this point. Regardless, they are still well off the pace, 25 seconds behind the pack, so call it half a lap down at this point. And look at this, big change at the front. Richie's hit the bottom. I think we're going to pit here this time. 17, Ren McKee a little out of shape, able to get it sorted out. 2 drivers left up top. Ennings will try and get down. He will. Entire field single file. I think we're going to be pitting here right away.
Now, what is the call when you come to pit road? Will you take 4? Will you take 2? Will you take none? Daytona is not really known for tire wear, so at most you're only taking tires to help you on the access road. As you see 1 duck off pit road there in the back. Oh, never mind. He came right back on there.
I think Garrett was surprised more people didn't go down pit road that time. You're right that this place doesn't really wear tires, but with the tight condition of these ARCA cars, I might venture a guess you may want tires here. You might want right sides. Keep that thing freed up so you can make some of these moves top to bottom, bottom to top, whatever it may be. As you can see, that issue by Garrett lifting cost him 2 seconds. Still in a pack of 4, but definitely disadvantage now for these last 4 drivers.
And now they're going to have to be extra aggressive to try to maintain with that lead pack on entry to pit road. It doesn't seem like they're coming this time by, but we're all on single file line here. Sour Patch is going to be pushing the 88 there of Helmlinger. Try to get him back up there at lead pack. But as it runs so far, after 28 laps, you have Laverne in first, Floyd in second, and Richards in third.
They've been a good run so far, clean and green through the first 28 laps. This is the most frustrating feeling, I think, if you're Garrett Helmlinger, although we're going out, pulling out here a little bit, is the 63. I was going to say, you're riding back here and you're just looking and you're watching and you're waiting, hoping that you can get driven back to the pack in front of you, and it's so difficult to do anything about it because you're wide open. So is Laverne, of course, wide open, burning that fuel. But with Garrett back here, he can see the lead pack. He can see them. He's 2.8 back, but he can't do anything about it. Not sure why Jameson and Holland fell back so far also, because they have just about lost touch with Ankenbauer in front of them. So this could be a disaster for this group of four here.
It's definitely not going to help having 2 instead of 4. But hopefully when people start pitting here, they can be aggressive on the entry and make up some of that time. And they might be able to sniff the draft after a pit stop.
Still not this time. Leaders at the start-finish. Kyle Stewart just off of the second turn. So that lead is shrinking between Kyle and Riley. I call it a lead. It is a deficit. You know what I mean. I'm surprised how orderly this field is. Oh, Garrett had a big moment there. He saw that. Way below the line off the corner. But they did catch back up to the pack. Possibly fuel saving. Are these drivers trying to stretch it to that one stop? We can't see the telemetry per se. Oh, now we're pitting. Look at that big group hitting pit road right here. Some stay on the racetrack.
Oh, it looked like the 19 there missed pit road, overshot into the grass. That is a catastrophic mistake there for the 19.
That will likely be a black flag. Let's have a look at it here. We'll get back on the live shot in just a sec. Coming to pit road here. Did he wheel hop? No, he just locked it up. Completely missed the commitment line. That is going to be a black flag for the 19. Disastrous pit stop. For the driver that led the most laps here today, everyone's going to leave pit road, and he will have to stay. Leader of this group is Justin Ritchie. Dakota Floyd, apologies, is now the leader of this pack in 10th. Richards hitting pit road. Able to get it just right. Might have sped for those top 3. That was very speedy. We're going to find out here if they have to wait on the...
I tell you what, that 17 almost lost it coming into pit road. He was sideways wheel hopping it.
Yes.
That was really awesome to see him get down.
These ARCA cars with the downshift wheel hop like nothing else. You know that, Jeremy. You felt that before. And there is no more helpless feeling. There you see Laverne just now leaving, then wheel hopping the car. I think Richards is serving a penalty. I think the 16 is as well. This is going to change the outcome of the race. Someone's in the grass. That's Thad Miller. The top of the screen missed pit road. In fact, you can see where he slid all the way through it. Little damage on the nose of that machine as well. Holland's hitting pit road. Hopefully he made it through clean as well. Let's go back and look at that Thad Miller incident. I know he's going to love this. As soon as ATVO loads up for me. There we go. Let's go back and have a look at it. There he is, just a little bit too much. Spins himself onto the grass.
The groundskeepers are not going to appreciate that.
They will not be pleased by any stretch. Holland's still the leader, but where is Dakota Floyd? Exiting 4. This is going to be very close. You can see the lap down machine of Laverne. Already 1 down. Was the race leader? Where do we cycle out? You see those 2 black dots way up in the distance. That's Holland and that's Jameson. Where will they cycle? Around the outside of Laverne. It might be too little too late for those drivers. They're not going to have the momentum. The pack is going to get by. There you see. There's 1. There's 2. All in all, pretty clean green flag sequence. A couple drivers missed the entry or spun off of pit road, but no major incidents, no car contact. And we have about 5 cars up the front of the field here. Hennings is right on the edge, I think, of that draft. Oh, sorry, he's 2.4 back. He is not on the edge. The top 5 here, still in the race, so to speak. They got Laverne with them, and would you look at that? Those are the drivers we would... Oh, we got a big block here. Holy, 3 wide.
Tell you what, that's that Michigan State right there, known for their defense. He definitely threw a big block there.
That was spicy. That was just about a day ender. Although with the faster pair, for a number of these drivers, wow. I think Dakota Floyd is probably screaming right now. What on earth was that? Remember, the 56 had the penalty for speeding on pit road. He's going to find himself a lap down. Currently racing for the lucky dog with Riley Laverne. Remember, a caution gets that 19 or 56 right back in the race. We are slowly...
Don't look too far ahead there. You got the 16 now who's at risk here of going a lap down. So you have 3 cars here battling for the lucky dog. As we look from the backside of the 16 here, look at that lead pack there, forming that snake on the bottom as you watch him go by.
He didn't even try and block. What the heck?
And towards the back here, he looks down and says, oh, wow, I'm actually battling them. I need to get down.
Yes, he does. He's not going to do it in front of Hennings or Holland or Jameson, it looks like. Take onto the back of the field and work your way through. But Richards, he's trying to make it happen. He wants that lucky dog spot. Looks like he's going to get it for the moment. Great run on the top side. Although he's going to lose it all right here, I would think. Probably going to see a lot of cars. Somehow keeps the momentum. Don't know how we manage that. Do we have help from behind? We do not. Surprising horsepower out of the 56. Able to stay in front of the 24 and the 19. As we just passed halfway, Justin Ritchie leads. Let's do a quick through your field. You've seen this enough on the Racing Revolution broadcast, Jeremy, to know how this one works. We got Justin Ritchie here as your leader. Sean Langton pushing him, as always, today in the second spot. Right exactly where he started. Garrett Hemlinger is going to be running in third. Up 7, John Sanu. A very, very anxious 56 on the outside. Sanu is running in fourth, up a couple spots. Dakota Floyd, right where he started, in fifth. Ryan Hennings behind him in that bright red V-Speed and VRX number 74. Richard Holland in the 31. That is 7th, 8th spot. Glenn Jameson in the 63. Now, drivers who have had less than ideal pit stops. Brent McKee back in the 9th position, about 10 seconds behind the field. Teresa Spiker working with him in 10th. Ankenbauer finds himself in 11th, working with Thad Miller, who was a few laps down. Benjamin Richards, we saw him 3 wide. My goodness gracious. We're going to have to come back to this here in just a few minutes, as we are. This has got some action in the pack here. Fighting hard.
Yeah, 3 by 3 there for 2 rows. It's really starting to amp up here because now you have 2 races in one. You have the lead lap cars battling for the overall win, and you're fighting also for the lucky dog with a few of these drivers in this pack, because you know that if there's just one caution, you are back in this race. So once again, 2 different battles here in this lead pack. This is very interesting here as we're just over halfway done this race.
But let's not forget, you cannot be the caution. If you're involved in the caution, you do not get that lucky dog. So you got to be careful with what you're doing here. Kyle Stewart involved in this as well. First time he's seen the pack all day. 14th, 1 lap down. That's another driver to add to the list of those who are fighting for the lucky dog. We're 3 wide for the lead down the backstretch, although Benjamin Richards on the top side, not on the lead lap. Trying to get that lap back by force. And he's just about there. So the 56, the 16, the 19, and the 41, all 1 lap behind the leader. all trying to pass the 55, which is going to get now down to the bottom, to try and get their lap back the hard way. And it's going to be difficult, let me tell you.
And now as we ride along in this pack, it's very interesting to see the lap cars are actually floating towards that outside lane here, except the 19 of Laverne as we ride on board here with what I believe is the 88 of Helmlinger.
Exactly right, yep.
He's trying to get to the back bumper there, the 19, but you're kind of in a very odd situation here because you know that guy in front of you, you're not racing. So does he lay off a little bit to make sure that he doesn't cause a mistake when he's not even supposed to be racing him? Or does he try to get up there and say, hey, man, get out of the way. I'm battling for the win here.
That's right. That driver, that white 88, that's third spot, but he's seventh in line right now. Richie continues to lead both the bottom and the race. Sean Langton, second spot right behind him. But they are surrounded, four of them, lap cars around these two leaders, insulating them from Garrett Helmlinger, insulating them from Dakota Floyd, and the rest of the field. This is an awkward situation, certainly for the drivers up at the front of the field. Not one that's very common at these super speedways.
Yeah, no, but I tell you what, the one car that's in front is Ricky Bobby here with Mr. Richie. He's been up here up front all night, so definitely cool to see the Cougar out front, followed up by the 77 there of Langton. And you also see Floyd back there trying to go up there with the lap cars. He's currently sitting third, but he's actually towards the tail end of this pack, so he's going to have to navigate through these lap cars through this draft and see if he can get up there to fight with those leaders. As we ride on board here with the 24 going down the backstretch, you cannot see hardly anything out of the driver's side just because of the cars in the way. As they head into 3, you just see that banking there on the gyro cam going through 3 and 4. They're going to be coming out here. You see those big grandstands out there filled with fans watching these cars, and they're thinking, wow, what a show we got going on here as we come to the line.
Hey, you saw a bit of a moment there for Dakota Floyd in the center of 3 and 4, able to keep it pointed the right direction. We are passing the leaders now. These lap cars are. That's 3 of them, and the new leader is Dakota Floyd. Following that pack, you got Stewart up there. You got Pierce as well, Richards. Those are the 3 lap cars in front of the leader. Leader being the 24, that blue car on the top side, second in line. I wonder what Laverne's thinking. Oh man, I had a chance, and now I'm not only am I not the first car lap down, well, he is actually technically, but they all got their lap back and I didn't. He now is going to try and clear the 24, but this is such an awkward position for the leader. How hard do you race? Do you really need to have them all lap down? Do you need to slice and dice, or can you just ride and be content? That's the question for Dakota Floyd. Hennings wants none of it. He's going to push that 24 for all it's worth, and the lap cars are going to fight to keep on the lead lap as Richie and Langton are going to work back towards them. Sanu's got a bit of a gap between him, the 55 and the 7. See what's going on here with the 86, who is currently in 5th spot.
He's just riding the bottom there through 3 and 4 as we take a look on the hood cam here. And I bet you he's thinking, man, I got to get back up there because these leaders have a gift sent to them, because now they have lap cars that are going to be in front of them so that they can actually save fuel in the draft. There's something to be said about the leader at these restrictor plates when there are no lap cars in effect, and you burn more fuel if you are the leader. So having these cars that are trying to get their lap back and stay on the lead lap, they're actually creating that draft and letting these leaders save more fuel. So it's really interesting to see how the leaders are actually using the lapped cars to let them buy and actually save fuel.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because you led me right there. Still have to do one more pit stop in this race. We cannot make it to the end on fuel unless there's maybe a caution or two, which you'd pit anyway for security reasons. But you can follow that car in front, as you were saying, Jeremy. It's like the wake of a boat is what they always describe it as. You get stuck in that wake behind them, and it kind of pulls your car forward. Less air resistance on the nose, a lot more lot less drag, and you can carry more speed, meaning you can go the same speed with less throttle input, less throttle, less fuel, longer fuel runs. That's the hope. Anyway, Dakota Floyd knows a thing or two about that. I drafted the heck out of him at Kansas here on this past Friday to make it, save one lap on fuel to finish third in a VRX race. Their Track Challenger Series. Their Friday nights. Go check it out here on V-Speed. If you like what you're seeing, which I'm pretty sure you do, I'm just going to speak for myself, but I'm quite enjoying it. I'm Morgan Cook. Jeremy Burns along with me in the booth making his debut. Check us out on V-Speed. You found us. Why don't you stick around a while? Click like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss a moment of the action. We're about to have 5 or 6, maybe even 7 broadcasts a week, possibly more. I have trouble counting. You guys know that. Up here in the booth on V-Speed all week long. Make sure to stick around a little while longer.
I tell you what, look at that 74 with that crisp paint job leading that outside lane. He's been kind of mellowed back there in the middle of the pack, but now he's actually leading a line. And he's going to be trying to side draft the 24 of Floyd there. And he's actually going to be trying to come back to the lead here and get back to the lead here for the first time tonight. As you see the crisp number 74 with V-Speed there on the side. You got, what, the 19 of Laverne pushing him down the backstretch there, and that Michigan State car behind Laverne.
And notice how it's flipped a little bit from the way it was 5 laps ago. No longer the lap cars, the leaders in this race, they're making up row 2 and 3. Right? No longer are they controlling the pace right now. It's back to the hands of the 24, the leader. Back to the 74, another leader. You see Richie and Langton, who have dominated most of this race, currently sitting back in 5th and 6th behind John Sanu and Garrett Helmlinger. And Holland and Jamison have been biding their time all race long, waiting for it all to go boom, and it has not happened yet. Only one driver who is more than 1 lap down and not involved in this shot on the screen. That driver would be Thad Miller. Right there, I guess there are others not in the screen, apologies. He's the only one who is more than 1 lap down. Teresa Spiker, David Ankenbauer, and Brent McKee, the 1st, 2nd, and 4th cars in line here, all on the lead lap, but very quickly losing touch with the lead pack. They are 16, now 18 seconds behind that pack. So without a caution, their hopes are, well, let's just say slim to go there and win this race with 21 laps to go. What do you expect at the end here, Burns? What's it going to take to win this race?
Well, these drivers have learned for the past 50 laps how to navigate the runs and where the lanes can go and how that momentum will work. So it's going to come down to everything that they've learned between those 50 laps. But I think that at the end of the day, the inside lane is going to be the one to beat. As long as you can get clear and block that outside line run, I think that you're going to be very successful. But I think that you also have to execute this green flag pit stop, because if you don't execute, if you speed, if you overshoot your box, anything that you do will cost you time. So being able to get in there and get a clean stop and a clean exit, as you see, multiple people have already gone a lap down. If you're able to get through there clean, you're going to have a very good shot at winning this race.
Let's not forget, I think there were 4, maybe 5 pit road penalties the first time around, a number of speeding, and then Laverne obviously missed the pit entry. So that is an absolute no-no, as you said, Jeremy. You have to have a clean stop. Doesn't have to be lightning fast, doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to have a clean stop. Make it to your box, don't slide through it, get the service done, and leave. Now, the question is that service going to be 4 tires? That's what everyone did the first time. Or do we do fuel only, 2 tires? What's the call? You better be on the same page with the people around you, because you do not want to leave by yourself.
And this is where the team game comes into play. You already know that guys are communicating with one another, saying, hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I'm going to do that. How much fuel are you taking? How long can you go? Being able to communicate that and get on a strategy here, this is what that time is for. This is the time right now to figure out what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Because when the time comes, you can't just have it on the fly. You have to have a plan. And when you have multiple people with that same plan, that's a huge key to success here at the super speedways.
And I've been part of these conversations before. I've been, well, the 24 is blinking out right now. I've been the 41. I've been the 55. In those group chats with these guys where you're saying, okay, Dakota, how far can you go? Oh, you can go to, I'm picking a number, you can go to 60? Okay, we have to pit 59, 60, somewhere in there. We can't go any farther, even though, say, Laverne can probably go another 3 or 4 laps based on how he's been saving fuel in the draft. You have to go when the shortest fuel run car in your group can pit. That's when you have to pit, or before then, to make it to the end on fuel so you don't leave somebody hanging out to dry. Because that 24, it's got speed out there. This is reminiscent of so many times here in the late 90s, early 2000s at Daytona. Not a surprise to see 24 out front.
Yeah, growing up a Gordon fan, I can attest to that. Seeing him out front a lot. Growing up in the later years of his career, though, definitely was exciting to watch him race. But another thing that's going to be interesting here is where the pit stalls are located. It's all based off your qualifying order. So if you qualified up more towards the front, you can afford to be more to the right when you enter pit road. But if you qualify towards the back, you have to communicate that you're going to want to be to the left because you have to get into your box first. So being able to communicate that properly is going to be very crucial in this stop.
Yeah, that's another thing that these drivers are talking about. Where did you qualify? Where's your pit box? Who's going to go to the bottom? Usually, when you do these entries, the lead car in the group will go all the way to the left. Then you'll have the next car about 2 car widths to the right, and you'll fan out to the yellow line right against the racetrack, and then you'll fan back to the left so that everyone has a good amount of space in front of them, so you're not overshooting and hitting somebody. If you all try and pit in a funeral procession type parade line sort of idea, you're going to run into somebody. Someone's going to get spun. That's where these cautions happen. You got to be careful of that, but everyone should be aware, and we only have about 15 or so cars, 13 cars in this front pack, so it shouldn't be too difficult, like on the first stop, to make it here cleanly.
And another thing is if you don't run into somebody, you're going to be slower. If you do not offset, you're going to be slower in that line than being offset. As you saw a little bit of contact there between the leaders, but we're going to take a look back here to this pack that's formed up of these 4 cars. Looking to be the 13 of Ankenbauer there, along with the 17.
Yeah, that's so Spiker, Brent McKee, we got Ankenbauer, and then Thad Miller is the car second in line there. He is 2 laps down, unfortunately tailing this field right now. But these 3 drivers all had tough pit stops or lost the draft in another way. Just trying to bide their time until something good happens. They are about 27 seconds behind the pack right now and losing very quickly. So up at the front again, you have Dakota Floyd leading. Second place is this red car. There are 4 cars in between him and the leader. And that has got to be such a frustrating feeling. There's nothing wrong with lap cars racing the leaders like this. Oh, just about a wreck with Kyle Stewart. He got wicked tight. You saw it right there into the side of the 56, able to keep it pointed the right direction. Well, that's got to be so frustrating. If you're second or you're third, how do you get up there? How are you supposed to get to Dakota Floyd and challenge him a little bit? He's just hanging back, doing whatever he wants.
Well, after you saw what you just saw with the lap cars, you're wondering, do I even want to be up there? But you know that you have to be aggressive and you have to stay up there because you might lose touch of them. You've seen it multiple times tonight where different packs of cars will check up just a little bit and lose that lead car draft. And you're starting to see a little bit here with the big gaps here on the inside lane, and you actually see a 4-car breakaway here as they enter 1 and 2. And that 41 and 16 are getting awfully close to one another.
I agree. The 41 is getting very tight on the bottom of the racetrack. You got to remember, first time he's been in this position. He started from the pits or had some sort of issue to start the race. Was unable to keep up with the pack. And from there, he has just kind of hung around by himself. Now he's in the pack, embedded in this field. First time he's dealing with the dirty air this deep in the run, and we're 27 laps into it. I would expect pit stops here in the next 5 to get us with a splash to the end. Here's another question, Jeremy. We've been green so far, 0 cautions to this point. It's been a phenomenal race. Do you prepare for a green-white checker, or do you expect status quo?
I think at this point in the race, you're going to fill it up to however long you need to go. If you get a green-white checker, depending on when the caution comes, you might still have enough fuel just because you're going to run some caution laps. Now, if you get to the second green-white checker, you might have to come in and top off. But I think that you're going to lose too much time here on pit road if you decide to fill it up for 5 more laps than what you need to.
I would agree with you there. I have yet to see, I think we're pitting here. Yes, we are, and it's fuel-only stops for McKee, Spiker, Ankenbauer, and Miller. See, McKee got a great launch off pit road. Oh, Ankenbauer just now leaving, and Spiker, not a great stop. These 3 are going to be separated. That is a disaster for this pack. All of those drivers are going to be struggling now because they're separated by seconds at this point. Are the leaders going to hit pit road this time? We just saw some drivers run out of fuel, run it very close to the end, not pitting this time. You'd also have to think, how are the lap cars affecting everyone getting down to the bottom to pit? Do you want to hang out the lap cars so that they don't get a chance to pit? You know, there's so many strategies at play right now, and we're getting pretty racy up at the front.
I tell you what, the one guy that I'm interested in seeing is that 56 and seeing how much fuel they have. The main reason I say that is because remember earlier when he was able to drive up on the outside and make his way towards the front, he had to be full throttle, where some people on the inside may not have been. So he's probably going to be in one of the less or worst possible scenarios when it comes to fuel, but it's put him back in contention to get back on this lead lap here. He's been battling with the leaders this entire run, so I don't fault him for it. But he's definitely going to have to get down here and be one of the first to pit just because of the fuel consumption that he's had on this run.
Would completely agree with you there. They're getting very close to side drafting in the center of the corner. I think that 24 is probably a little nervous with how close the 56 is running him. But let's see what it looks like from the nose, or the roof, how about, of Stefan Pierce here running on the top side. He's one of these lap down cars. Remember, we're still fighting for the lucky dog. Right? It's not over yet. 41, 56, 16, and 19, all still going for it. Right, you can see them all up in the frame here. That Matt Kenseth DeWalt scheme a little further back. That is Riley Laverne, who's led the most laps, I think, to this point. Let me verify that. Riley Laverne has led 24 of them. Dakota Floyd has led 18 of them. I think I was correct. Riley Laverne led the most laps today and has, we got a car on the wall. That's the 16. I think Laverne has just about clinched most laps led. It might come right down to it depending on this pit stop sequence.
I'm hearing over the radio now a lot of the leaders are going to be coming down this time, so going to be keying in here to see how they get down to pit road and how successful they are here on entry.
Jeremy, ear to the ground burns. There you see them all peel off, trying to get to the pit lane. Missed some of the leaders there. Might have been speeding on the 74. Looks like everyone else got in pretty clean. But down the pit lane, there's a big gaggle of cars. This may be the battle for the win. How do you execute the stop? Anybody miss the box? Got 3 cars in one right there. Langton got lost. You kind of saw it. Hennings missed the box. First one out, Dakota Floyd. Helmwinger with a great launch. Kyle Stewart going to get left behind, and so is the 19. Remember, they're struggling on tires. Where is Richard Holland? Off of turn 4, coming to the pit road here. There's the 2 lap cars. Richards and Pierce, and there's Holland and Jameson making their way to the pit lane. Easy breezy for those 2. Let's see how it cycles out. Dakota Floyd having some connection issues here. Big gap. I don't like that. Not efficient at all. Coming off pit road. Let's check it out here with John Sanu, who's going to have a massive run up to the back of this group. They better get single file in a hurry, because they have not yet cleared Jameson and Holland. We're not sure where those drivers are right now. It's like on the apron. Oh, just about a caution. Sanu drives it way down in there.
He forced the issue there, that's for sure.
Oh, he sure
That's why
did.
he forced something coming. He thought that he was going to be clear, but the 86 said, no, sir. And that is one spot there for the 86 as they go down the back. And oh my gosh, look at them trying to navigate these lap cars coming off a pit road.
Reminds me of William Byron out here throwing blocks to the big pack. But remember, these are not the leaders. The leader is this driver right here, Glenn Jameson. Got out there with the lap car, the 16. Will he try and block? He will not. Put Langton to the point at the line. We got under 5 laps to go. Here from Daytona, it's been green to this point. Will it stay that way? Single file now for the top 5. Top 7 are in the lead group. Plus the 16 trying to play spoiler. The lap car there, although that is killing the run of the 63. See Jameson not able to get in line. This side-by-side is destroying their speed. That's got to be so frustrating. Look at that. Look how much time he lost. But Holland, go ahead.
At this point, the 16 is just saying, come on, man, single file out so that we can get up here. Stop fighting me. We both have a chance here. Let's get back up here and get at it.
Absolutely right. Something happened to Holland on that pit stop. He is now 9 seconds back, make it 10.5. McKee also has lost the lead draft. So is Spiker. Working together with Ankenbauer, who is no longer in the lead pack. Those are the last cars on the lead lap. Stephen Pierce, Benjamin Richards, Kyle Stewart, Riley Laverne, Thad Miller, all still in the race, but a lap down. And we're about to have company up at the front. Garrett Hemlinger on the top side. Brian Hennings giving him a shove. Will they make it to the front? We saw Richie, really the only driver in the field able to pass for the lead on the top side. Helmwinger at the line. I give it to the 88 by less than a fender. That was close. Will that be what we see in 3 more laps? 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 at Daytona.
You can feel the anxiety rolling up here. Everyone on the edge of their seat. You got 2 by 2 as they come down the backstretch. Will it be the 77 or the 88? You have the 15 following in tow. When do they decide to make a move, or will they push that lead car to the win?
And we got lap cars in front of them. Let's not forget, it's not quite over yet. I believe that's Spiker. That's Spiker and Ankenbauer in front of them. What do? Do they stay single file? Do they split out 2 wide? We've got 2 laps to go to decide at Daytona, and they are definitely going to catch that group. Where does the group go? Where does Ankenbauer go?
There's not a single person sitting down right now as we look through the rear end of the car that they're catching here, the lap car. 2 by 2 heading down the backstretch. It's 2 to go here at Daytona. Who is going to take the season opener here for VSRL? Will it be the 77? Will it be the 88? The 55 or the 74?
Or maybe not one of those drivers at all. Langton with a great run. He's going to get to the top side. He's able to clear Helmwinger as they go by the lap cars 3 wide. Oh, this is sketchy. I don't like this. White flag. Who's it going to be? Big push to the 77. He got loose. Helmwinger leading on the top side. He is clear. Will he go down to the bottom? He will go down to the bottom. Hennings run on the top side. Kenny has the momentum. Down the back stretch. Big push from Richie to Langton. Nothing doing down the back stretch. They roll into turn number 3. Helmwinger as the push from behind stalled out both lanes. Who's it going to be? Into 3. Top lane fading quickly. Where's the move come? Here it is. They're wrecking behind him. to the line. 88, it's going to be Langton's going to get him at Daytona.
What a move there by Sean Langton. He moved out of line coming out of 4. He waited to the last second when he had a run. He finally got clear and got to the right rear there. It was able to make the pass coming to the checkered.
That was the perfect move. Langton timed it up perfectly, led 9 laps. And Garrett Helmlinger is going to ask, what if? What if he blocked that move? Oh, that was close. What a great effort by the driver of the 77, throwing it back. His favorite driver, Robbie Gordon, in the Motorola scheme. There's a little door banging, little love between drivers there. What a race. Green with 2 green flag pit stops. And let's watch the driver of the 77 burn it down. Here on the start-finish line. Yeah, I'd say here in that one, wouldn't you say, Burns?
Yeah, I tell you what, though, these grounds crews are really going to have their work cut out for them, driving right through the logo. But I tell you what, that's a picture-perfect ending for the picture-perfect night here at the season opener for Vsrl.
Yeah, the on-track action was sublime. No issues at all. Not a single caution, only the one incident right at the end coming to the checker, and I think we all expected that. Dakota Floyd involved in it, ended up finishing in the 7th position, but phenomenal drive for the driver of the 77. The 88, the 55, all had a great effort. 74 ended up finishing in 3rd. We'll have all your results and your interviews with the top 3 right after this. You have been watching Vsrl ARCA Season 1, Race 1. Thank you all for joining us here from Daytona. We'll be back after a quick commercial break with the rest of your program.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live on V-Speed. Going to give you the results for Vsrl's first race of their ARCA Series, Race 1, Season 1, and it was a doozy. Green flag from start to finish, 18 lead changes. That's at the start-finish line, mind you, not on the backstretch. Lap cars played a factor, but the racing was clean and green the entire time. Sean Langton waited until the last moment to make his move, and he ends up winning the race over Garrett Helmlinger by less than a 10th of a second. Brian Hennings brings it home in the 3rd position. Justin Ritchie in the Ricky Bobby inspired scheme will finish in the 4th spot, also within a 10th of the leader. Jameson is going to finish in 5th. He was part of that incident, how about, I believe. John Sanu, Dakota Floyd, Richard Holland as well. Brent McKee had a bad pit stop, ends up finishing 45 seconds behind the leader, although in the 9th position.
Yeah, now we're going to head to the lap down cars. You're going to have the 16 there of Stephanie E. Pierce, followed up by Teresa Spiker. You also had David Ankenborough in 13 there, finishing in P12. Finishing behind him is going to be Riley Laverne in the 19. Had such a great day until the pit road mistake. You also had the 41, who never really got off to that good of a start, but he fought back and tried getting to the best that he could, finishing 14th. They had the 56 of Benjamin Richards finishing 15th, and Thad Miller in the 14, rounding out your field, finishing 2 laps down tonight.
Little cleanup, that is Kyle Stewart in the 41. You got to say the driver's name as well, Jeremy. But a great run for all the drivers here tonight, keeping it clean and green on the speedway. Now we're gonna get trackside and have a discussion with your top 3. Let's kick it off with 3rd place, Ryan Hennings. Let's get him up here in the V-Speed booth. Ryan Hennings, it's Morgan and Jeremy up in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, fellas. What's going on?
Well, goodness gracious. That was a phenomenal race from start to finish. Clean and green. Green flag pit stops were on point. 74 was laying in the weeds for most of this race, just trying to bide his time. I know you're very good at this style of racing, but what was your plan coming in, and did this race go how you expected?
Well, I'm happy to see you went green to checkers. That's awesome. My plan was basically just to try to stay near the front. That's what I try to like to do on speedways. I don't like to play dodgeball in the back. So I just try to stay up front. I thought I almost hosed myself on that last green flag stop because I had to back up a little bit. Came in a little too hot and too far left, but thank God I still caught the draft when I got out, and here we are.
Right on. Well, if you can dodge a car, you can dodge a ball. I think that's how that goes. I'm not. I don't.
Yes.
I don't quite remember, but very good. It was Brian Hennings here tonight. Led a few laps. Going to help you in the points, of course. But I mean, I just can't say enough about how clean this race was. There was a little bit of contact here and there, of course, with these cars. It's kind of the way that it works, but none of that shoveling we talk about. Very few drivers found the outside wall. What do you attribute that to? Is this thing just hard to drive and everyone was kind of being cautious, or was it very easy to drive and easy to keep out of trouble?
I think people were probably being a little cautious. First race, nobody wants to be that guy that turns the first guy and does the old shovel move. It seemed a little odd. It seemed for a little while like some guys were trying to lay back after that last green flag, or not the last green flag, second last stop. Like, I was wondering if they were thinking they were going to try to save enough, and we were talking to ourselves like, I don't think they can. So I just started, going full throttle and getting up there with Dakota. But yeah, the car is not too bad. It's easier than the B car, that's for sure. I like this car, so we'll just see how the season plays out, I guess, with this car.
Right on. Well, who do you want to shout out? Who do you want to thank for a top 3 here tonight, season opener, Vsrl ARCA Series?
Obviously, V-Speed and all you guys in the booth. Can't wait to go back and watch it. Garrett for continuing to admin and league owner, keeping this series going. It'll be nice to see somebody other than Ross Phillips in the championship. So that'll be a nice.
Hey, I won the first
change.
one.
Yes, I know.
Whatever, Brian.
I'm just, so jaded with Ross. It's like, Ross just runs away with it. But he's no longer here, so we'll see who's the champ this season. My teammates VRX, Benji, Teresa, and Steven was helping, so thank you to them. Any family and friends that might be watching, my wife and daughter, love you guys. Hi, Paul, hi, Jeremy, and anyone else.
Right on. And what can we expect next from the 74? When will we see you on track next time?
Well, I still have to buy the next track, so I better practice next week. So, yeah, I don't think you'll be talking to me next week.
Probably see you at Kansas on Friday, though, I would imagine, right?
Yes, looking forward to that.
Little
Yes.
VRX action here on V-Speed.
Yes.
Don't want to miss that one. But that's Brian Hennings, 3rd place. Thank you very much for the interview, and we'll
Thanks,
catch you
guys.
next
Have a
week
great
in
one.
New Smyrna.
Thank you.
All right, that is your 3rd place finisher, Brian Hennings. Now up 1 spot in the leaderboard, but 1 spot behind where he wanted to finish. Garrett Helmlinger, you got a copy. Morgan up in the booth.
What's going on?
Well, I hate to say it, but so close, but so far. I mean, it was a phenomenal race from every driver out here. I have to imagine you saw the move coming. What could you have done differently to end up in victory lane here tonight?
Honestly, my chance to go to victory lane there was entirely luck. If I tried to block Sean's run, I would have created a checkup, and nobody's letting off the gas, and I probably would have wrecked the entire field. Um, so my bed was made whenever the 16 let off the 74, and the top side lost their run, and it opened the door for Sean. Uh, Realistically, that once that happened, any chance I had was gone. They just had too much momentum on the bottom, and if I thought about it for a split second, and I just that moment in time, it's, my bed's made. If I go up, I wreck. If I stay here, I'm maybe they stall out at the top and I get the win. But yeah, the second kind of sucks, especially getting like that. I can't. It's been so many damn times on the losing end of the photo finishes, but hey, we put on a good finish though, right?
Yes, you absolutely did. We were screaming up here in the booth, and really the entire race. Jeremy can attest to this as well. It was side by side, from the front to the back. Some different strategies playing or undergoing there, and it was so hard to pass tonight. It looked like. Can you just speak on that a little bit? What did you
Oh
have to
yeah.
do to make a pass here tonight, especially if the cars in front of you got kind of locked side by side?
I really don't think you could. I mean, unless you challenged the third lane, there really wasn't a lot of passing. I mean, these things rip a whole lot more than it seems. Like that whole run, we're talking about fuel strategy and saving fuel, and I'm thinking, we're going a buck 98. I got this thing up to 203 one time going into three. So these things are ripping around here, and the tire wear, it started to get a little bit loose in the later ends of the run, especially towards the end of the race. You could feel it getting a little light. But yeah, passing was until everybody started, the second half of the race, whenever we had the gaggle of lap cars right there mixed with the leaders. I think most of the leaders were kind of just chilling, letting them do their own thing. But yeah, passing was very hard up until the end. It really took people taking daring moves and pushing the limits to make it seem like passing was possible. For the most part, really, it was just pick your spot and ride, and hopefully somebody bobbles a little bit, and you can stick your nose under them or above them and pass them that way. But other than that, really, like they were. I was honestly anticipating, an average pace of high 80s, and we were probably saw 10 miles an hour faster than that. So to go caution free with a car as fragile and as finicky in the draft and off each other's nose with this car going at that pace, it's a test to the field for sure.
Yeah, definitely an impressive run. And Jeremy, do you have any questions for league owner Garrett Helmlinger?
Yeah, can we see it all next week? I mean, that was a phenomenal race. What are you looking forward to next week?
Next week is not my cup of tea. I just want to finish the race next week. I think we're going to put on a good show with the front guys, but I highly doubt that I will be one of those front guys. It'll be a week of let's get to the end without bending the car too many times, and then maybe I'll be able to compete a little bit at Kansas. So yeah, I'm glad to have a good points night so I can go into next week kind of not worried about having to make up that many points, because I'm gonna just put the camera on me and we'll do curse the camera and you'll watch me wreck 4 or 5 times. So
I have a few of those throughout the week that I put the camera on them, and bad things typically happen. I'm sure that won't be the case with you next week. But who do you want to shout out or thank? You already mentioned the drivers in the field. Who else do you want to talk about here while you have the floor?
everybody involved. You two for putting on such a good show. All the drivers for putting on a good show. We had 16 cars, and it was a blast. It was a blast from start to finish. It shows that quality really does beat quantity in certain times in this service with certain cars. Shout out to everybody who watched, anybody who's not affiliated with the league that watched. We're always accepting new people in. If anybody wants to come race with us, this is a solid group of people. I've been doing this for 7 years now. One of the most solid, complete groups, trustworthy people. everybody involved with V-Speed, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for making it happen. It's why I do this. It's why the league is a thing, and it makes me really happy to see where it's at.
Yeah, this is the league that I got started in iRacing. Appreciate everything you've done for me to this point, and glad to help you guys out. But anyway, that is your second place finisher, Garrett Helmlinger tonight. Congratulations, and we will catch you next week at the short track in Florida.
See ya.
All right, now there was one driver left. We're going to go have a chat with him. We've caught up with your winner, Sean Langton. Morgan and Jeremy up in the booth. You got a copy.
Got you guys.
Well, this is not a unfamiliar sight for you. Finishing first in a Vsrl race, this time the ARCA car. I think you've won. I think you are the only driver, in fact, to win in every series Vsrl has ever had. How do you feel about that?
Wow, yeah, that feels pretty good. Some good competition out here today. We had some fun. Yeah, it was. I was really content just staying behind Garrett there, coming to the finish, and then I got a really good push from Justin and saw an opportunity there and stuck to the outside, and then Hennings came up, gave me a shot, and got me the win.
We're watching the last lap in slow motion right now. We saw coming into turn one when you were trying to go around the lap cars, Richie got to your left rear and got you just a little bit loose. At that particular moment, are you thinking about it, or are you just saying foot's to the floor, whatever happens, happens, and hope he doesn't push you any harder?
Yeah, I was debating whether I wanted to, because it looked like he was going to try and split me and go 3 wide, and I figured that might cause a big one, so I kind of shut the door on him so that wouldn't happen. I was thinking about going high, and maybe he'd come with me, but then I saw him peak, so I blocked it off, and we got together, we saved it, and then that allowed Garrett to get down and get the run, which I was trying to get the time of run, but I was kind of just pacing him and stuck behind him, so I was really prepared to just push him to the win, and then Richie got he got really close to me in 3 and 4, and I felt the momentum pushing, so as soon as I cleared Hennings on the outside, I just shot up there and hoped for the best.
Yeah, you made the move at the perfect time. Garrett had nothing he could do. He mentioned that in his interview. If he went up to block you, he probably would have wrecked the whole field, and someone else would be standing here in victory lane. You timed it perfect, and I think you had the right guy in front of you who knew if he made that block, it was going to cause a disaster. But you have not been great at super speedways. I think that is accurate with your record. Very Kyle Larson-esque has your VSRL career been, but you're great everywhere else. How much confidence does it give you to be able to win at the super speedway, now going to a short track where you historically run very well?
Yeah, I mean, super speedways, I feel like I run good there, but I always kind of miss the strategy. Either hang in the back and lose it, or try and lead every lap and stay out of trouble and something goes wrong. But this one I just kind of went with my gut, just kind of pit with my teammates, and definitely gives me a good boost going into next week. Well, that should be a strong track. Where are we at? Smyrna?
That's right.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Good confidence booster.
Right on. Anything for our winner, Jeremy?
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the number for the maintenance crew because you burned it down there on the Daytona logo. So a lot of cheering fans here, but I know a couple people back in the garage area with those cleanup trucks are going to be looking for you after the race.
Yeah, I don't think I've got to celebrate much at Daytona, so I did my little senior impression there and got the good out of it in the infield.
Bruton Smith can be very unhappy with with the burnouts there on Daytona's logo, but phenomenal drive, Sean. Who do you want to shout out? Who do you want to thank for the win here, VSRL ARCA season number 1, race number 1?
Yeah, I just want to thank Garrett for putting this together, VSRL leagues. You guys up there at V-Speed, thanks for the broadcast. Do a great job as always. Teammates, Orange Speed teammates, we ran a good race today. And that's pretty much it. Hi to my parents at home. We'll see you next week.
Right on. We will see you at the short track next week. That is your winner here. Race number 1, Sean Langton. All right, well, that is pretty much going to do it for our show this evening. Once again, this has been a broadcast of the VSRL ARCA Series race number 1, season number 1 here from Daytona. We didn't get to show the schedule earlier due to time constraints, but it's up on the screen right now. Daytona, we just saw it. Next week, New Smyrna down in Florida, then Kansas, Iowa, then road course racing in Connecticut, Lime Rock Park, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Martinsville, and Dega round out your regular season. Then we have a 4-race playoff. Michigan, Dover, the Milwaukee Mile, and Chicagoland to wrap it all up November 25th. It should be a thrilling season. If the racing is anything like it was tonight, we are going to be thrilled. We're going to have a great time here over the next handful of weeks. This should be great. But for everyone involved in this, Garrett Helmwinger and all the Vsrl admins, everyone at V-Speed as well, gotta thank Bradley Cooper for getting us up and running here with those technical difficulties. Got Adam Baker, Eddie Smith. Appreciate all the other producers and broadcasters who do their thing. Jeremy Burns for making his debut tonight here in the booth. He did a phenomenal job. Make sure to check back with us early and often to see the next time you're going to see Jeremy Burns here in the booth. I've been Morgan Cook, your host and producer. Thank you all for showing up. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I want to see you here again. Stick around a while because you're not going to be disappointed. But anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time tomorrow for QSR.